In an earlier video on Canon 7D Mark II autofocus, we spoke about the different focus groupings of focus points in some detail. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at focus modes again, as well as the number of focus points on the screen or available to the user, and how to manage those easily and quickly. The 7D II has a menu dedicated to focus, which is the pink menu. If you go to the fourth tab in the pink menu, it says AF up at the top there, fourth tab, and we go down 3 options. It says select autofocus area selection mode. So bearing in mind that we have 7 different options of utilizing these 1 to 65 focus points, the camera has a menu that allows you to choose which ones you want to keep available to you at any one time. So if you like all 7 available and you frequently switch between any of the 7, you can keep all of these options checked. However, if you find that you're using only 1 or 2 of these focus groupings, or 3, then it makes sense to uncheck the others, and it will save you time then when you're cycling between the ones that you've got left. Instead of cycling between 7, you'll only cycle through what remains. So for my own 7D Mark II, I don't really use spot autofocus too much, so we'll take the check mark away there. We have to keep the single point, which is great because that's my favorite one anyway. I'm going to keep the expanded autofocus area 1 helper with one point with 4 helpers, and I'm going to get rid of the 1 with 8 helpers. I'm going to keep AF zone, that's the fast moving cluster, when I have good light, a lot of depth of field, when autofocus accuracy is not so critical. And I'm going to get rid of the large zone, which is a little less accurate, and I'm going to get rid of the 65 point autofocus point selection. So click OK, and now just to get a graphic view of what's happening, there's my single point, which is default. If I pull down on the little 7D II lever where my thumb is sitting above the joystick, I can get expanded autofocus 1 plus 4, and if I pull it again, I get zone. So I've got 3 quite different focus point options, and they're all available just in a very short space of time, just merely by moving my thumb on this little lever, and I can do that while I'm looking through the viewfinder. So now that we've got rid of the modes that we're not using all the time, we've trimmed down that menu option. I'll go back to the autofocus menu, and I'll just do it from the beginning. 4th tab, and now 2 down to an option that says selectable autofocus point. So this really shows us the different configurations of the 65 point focus grid that we can see in the viewfinder, and how we can reduce that. You might find that 65 points is so many that it takes you quite a long time to navigate from one to another side of the screen, and in that instance, Canon's given you some options here. So the default number of points that are visible in the viewfinder are 65, but if you find that it's too many points and you're taking a long time to navigate from one side of the screen to the other, then you can get another option, which is 21 points. So this reduces the number of focus points, and it makes it much quicker to navigate around the screen. You do lose some coverage at the top and in the diagonal corners. Going back to that menu, there's still a further option. Enter, and we go to the bottom one, which is only 9 points. So this reduces the grid, so getting around it is really fast with just 9 points, but you need to be aware that you're losing coverage on either side and on the tops. So those are ways to minimize how many points you have available in your screen, so that you can get around it quicker. Personally, I keep mine set to 65 points. What we'll be looking at in the next video on this camera is autofocus. We'll be dealing with timing of autofocus in AI servo. Subscribe to this channel if you want to keep getting videos about Canon gear from a wildlife photographer's perspective.